pale moonlight. Vinny and Phil bring the shadows to life. Tales of the ghostly whispers in the night. Bigfoot and aliens ready for the strife. The darkness thickens, the air is cold. Haunting stories waiting to unfold. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. EVPs echo through the haunted trees. Demons lurk as the chill hits with ease. But the caps rolling with gets to amaze. Cryptids and spirits were lost in the haze. Northmen in the foliage, watch your back. Dogmen prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. Moving in the foliage, watch your back. Through the prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. So tune in next week, fear in your soul. Darkness awaits, let the stories unfold.
Welcome, everybody, to Supernatural Sundays. Good to be back in the studio here in March. We have a special guest tonight. We have Miss Cindy Gray from up in Louisville, Kentucky.
So far.
And, glad to have you on, Miss Cindy.
Thanks.
How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. We survived some phenomenal Mexican food. Had some really rough storms here about a week ago. We had 70-mile-an-hour winds, so looking forward to spring. Getting out and do some investigating.
Yeah, can't come soon enough.
Cindy's been a friend of mine for a few years. She's one of our team members. He's also on another team. Shout out to Tim over at hashtag Paranormal over there. He's got the Casper Group, Kentucky Paranormal. Trying to think what the rest of their acronym. It's Casper, right?
Yeah, it's
Kentucky
Casper. That's just what I call it because it's Kentucky Association
Paranormal,
Supernatural Paranormal.
Supernatural Paranormal. So Tim's been a pretty good friend of mine for a while too. He makes equipment and still wanting to make some more devices with him. I still want to make an Ovilus device, and he's done a few REM pods and some other things. And I got some parts. Me and him got some things together, and he made his own SLS camera device. So I've got a SLS and XLS, and one's having issues, and the other one's not working right now. So with the equipment, there's always something going on. But Miss Cindy, you want to let us know a little bit, how, maybe your background a little bit, how you got into the paranormal, how you ended up here with us on our Supernatural Sundays.
Okay, well, I started off about 8 years ago finding something in my home, and it started out with just the smell of cigarettes, and I got touched on my shoulder one time, and then I started hearing footsteps up in my attic. So I started looking at different people who were interested in looking for answers, and that's how I started a little group, me and my friend. Then I was in another bigger group, and we did a lot of home visits on that group, and that's where I met you. So when that group broke up, I was lucky enough to get to go on some investigations with you and join the team.
Yeah, we're glad to have all the help we can get. Miss Cindy's she's a little sensitive. We can walk into a home and she'll get an uneasy feeling, or it'll feel heavy, and it helps out quite a bit when she's doing the Estes method, where you put on the headphones and you're listening to an app or a spirit box, and the only thing they can hear is what's coming through those headphones. So we'll go off to the side and ask questions, and some of her answers are almost immediate with what we're asking. So that
Yeah,
gets
you really have to clear your head and be a little sensitive to pick out the words and stuff. It's a lot of different noises coming at your head.
when you're sensitive like that, sometimes it takes a little bit out of you. You have, sometimes you got to go take a break, or the next day they have what they call a paranormal hangover. You'll wake up and feel like you drank 3 cases of beer and you didn't have anything. It was just kind of the mental strain of it on your body and everything. So yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you ready to look at some news? We got some news. I got a few videos. I would like to have you your honest opinion and critique them with me. We'll see what we got going on this week here, and I'm curious to see what you think of some of these.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, this first one is a mama and a baby Bigfoot. And a lot of these videos, I don't claim any. I just look at them. If I see anything interesting, I bring them on. I don't claim that they're real or not real, but we like to discuss them and see what everybody thinks.
Late nights in the coop, baby, tell me what you're trying to do. Baby, just hold me, tell me that you love me. I know you and me, we got something going on. Baby, let's get it on, let's get it on. Baby, just hold me, tell me that you love me. I know you and me.
That one has some pretty good music to it there, hopping along.
It definitely looks like two, though.
Yeah, like a mama and a baby Bigfoot.
Yeah, much smaller.
I would have liked to have more, description or commentary, but I think that one come out of Mississippi, I believe it was. I got another one here. This one, This is supposed to be one of the better authentic Bigfoot videos. This one's supposed to be authentic.
In 1994, Paul Freeman captured what might be the clearest Bigfoot footage ever. Freeman, a seasoned tracker, was deep in the Blue Mountains when he spotted something massive. Is it real?
Oh, there he goes.
Is that the original footage?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
What makes
Wow.
me think it's more believable is it's shaky and a little blurry.
I know you can't AI that. You definitely couldn't do it back then.
You see the blurry ones are the real Bigfoot videos. Everything else could be kind of fake.
Yeah, but that definitely looks for real. I've always believed that footage.
This one here, this one almost looks like some AI stuff going on. It almost looks too legit.
So this man was hunting somewhere in Washington state when he saw what he thought must have been a man in a Bigfoot costume, chopping down a tree near some power lines. The man was about to tell him to stop when he realized how huge this guy was. Wow, what a costume. Hey man, are you shooting a YouTube video or something? That's a great costume. The beast of a man said yes in a deep, strange voice. I said, cool man, can we take a picture? What's the name of your channel? I snapped this pic, and right after I did, the beast had thrown me to the ground while snatching my phone and shaking it to pieces. He made a grunting noise at me, a look of disgust on his humanish face. He moved faster than anything I'd ever seen, faster than a sports car. I picked up the pieces of my phone, hoping someone could work some magic, and they did. This is my picture with Bigfoot. I had no idea at the time.
Yeah, I can see where that wouldn't be the top of my list believable.
I got two issues with it. One, the Bigfoot doesn't move at all, and then it's Uncle Si from Duck Dynasty on the front.
no.
There. I don't remember Uncle Si ever having a Bigfoot encounter, at least on any of their episodes that they had. So
Yeah,
this
not
one here is
believable.
yeah, I'm calling that one fake. This one here, this one's interesting.
The following video is groundbreaking, and it is from an anonymous source who leaked the video. The information I was able to gather is that this is a military helicopter, and it's chasing what appears to be a massive Bigfoot. And this Bigfoot knows it's being chased. You can see it turn its head to look towards the chopper. But if this video is true, this is some of the best leaked footage we have ever come across. Now take a look at the characteristics of the Bigfoot, those arms, the stride, the head, the whole body shape. But now we have to ask, why is our military chasing them? And have they known this whole time that they do exist? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool. It definitely looked like a military type of.
Like night vision. It was a little blurry, so that made it seem a little more real.
Yeah. I guarantee you the military knows about them.
Oh yeah, if they're out there, they probably got one with a he's probably weaponized somehow. He's one of their super soldiers. This one I've seen a couple different versions of this one, and this one the Bigfoot doesn't know they're there, and it's just out there in the swamp. And the ones from the swamp they call skunk ape. So you got your Florida skunk ape, which is your most popular one, and then this one is a Mississippi skunk ape. And then when you get up around Illinois, southern Illinois, they have the big muddy monster, and then then the Native Americans call them Sasquatch, and then everybody else calls them Bigfoot. But if you get to like Nepal, up by Mount Everest, they call them the Yeti, and then you get over by Australia, they call it the Yowie. So like every different
Culture.
region has their own name for the same creature. So it's like, okay, there's all these imaginary creatures leaving footprints. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of that, I got to show you something. This reminded me when you said footprints. I got this guy. This come from up by Carrollton, Kentucky, and I'm gonna hold up to the camera.
It's huge.
Yeah, and I wear a 13, and it's way bigger than, I don't know if I can get my foot up there, but it's way bigger than that. But this come out of Carrollton, Kentucky, and I believe the guy's name up there is Tom Shea. That he's got several castings up there, and it's up by Carrollton, by the river, and he's that's where I got that one from. He's got a couple other ones, but you go to like Crypticons, Bigfoot festivals. If he's got any copies, he'll make a mold and he makes copies of them. So I want to go find my own real one someday. But
Yeah.
When you go out in the woods, you got to take some plaster of Paris with you and different stuff. You got to have your kit, for collecting evidence. But when I said footprint, that reminded me. Anyway, here's the Mississippi skunk ape. And the more believable ones, it went on for quite a while. That thing was in a hollowed out tree, ripping
That
the
was
tree apart.
weird.
There's probably something in there he wanted to eat. But when it stood up, that old boy hauled ass.
Oh yeah, that looked for real. He was scared of whatever that was.
As soon as it stood up, it was pretty big. He was like, I'm out of here. If there's any of these you want to replay or anything, let me know. If you want to see anything rolled back. Let's see here. Okay, this is a new cryptid that I've just heard about this week. So Enjoy your vegetables.
The Vegetable Man is a cryptid that you're probably not familiar with. This cryptid is from West Virginia, as most cryptids are, and was first described in a newsletter in 1976. It was described as very tall, over 7 feet, thin and semi-human shaped. It is said to be plant-based, which is where the name Vegetable Man comes from. It also has large ears and eyes that will change color rapidly, and also has very thin arms. And the strangest thing about this cryptid is its fingertips. Its fingertips have suction cups on the ends of them with little needles in them. In 1968, in Fairmont, West Virginia, Jennings Frederick was out for a hunt. He heard a strange noise that he described as a record player that sounded like it was running faster than it should. He tracked down the source of this noise and ended up face to face with a creature that he said looked really weak and sick. And then he started to make out words, but he didn't hear the words. It was coming to him telepathically. This creature was communicating and telling him that he was not in danger and that he just needed medical help. And then the creature lunged at Frederick. The creature then wrapped its arms around Frederick and used the little suction cups on the ends of its fingers to suction to his body and took his blood from him. While all of this was happening, Frederick could not break away. All he was doing was staring into this creature's eyes that were flashing with colors back and forth. And it sort of put him into a trance. The creature got enough blood from Frederick to gain some energy back and then broke free and ran away. And of course, Frederick is in shock at this point, but he does follow the creature and ends up seeing it run back to its UFO. If you want to hear more on this, I talk more about it on my podcast, Mystery Myths and Legends. This is episode 188.
What do you think of the old Vegetable Man there?
I don't know. It sounds a little out there. She sounds a little out there.
The suction cup fingertips with little syringe needles that suck your blood. What are they, like vampire hands or something?
That's what I was just thinking.
like a lamprey, like that fish, the lamprey that sucks on it and pulls the blood out. Yeah, pretty wild.
That's a little out there. Definitely an alien if it exists, I would say.
That winds up our cryptids for the week, and then it's time for a little cowbell in our segment.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
So we've got the device we take out, and it's got cowbells hanging on it. So we've got the paranormal Paramoo, and we've got it's got one cowbell, and then of course, because Christopher Walken always needs more cowbell, so we got the more cowbell on there. So we've had it out a few times on investigations. We've had the striker move, but we haven't got the bell to go into a full ring yet. But when it does, I think certain people are going to run to the truck when that happens.
I wouldn't know who would do that.
Keeping with our vegetables and gardening theme, gardeners everywhere all across the world are going to be excited about this video right here. It's all about the gardens, everybody. If you got fairy gardens, regular gardens, it's going to be right up your alley.
This will be the creepiest thing you see all day. Just a moment, I'm going to roll a video clip of what people say is a gnome. Yes, a gnome caught on camera. And I'm talking about the little gnomes that you see sitting in people's yards. This is allegedly a gnome caught moving through this person's yard. It appears to be pushing something. It was caught on a home security camera. I'm going to roll the clip. I want you to let me know in the comments, what is this? Now, I don't believe gnomes are real. There's a lot of folklore around gnomes or fairies. Some people say it is. Check it out. Let me know in the comments. Watch this.
Did you see him?
Yeah, I don't.
He looked like he's pushing a little wheelbarrow.
I know, but so tiny.
I don't know what the hell that was, but it looked like a little feller pushing a wheelbarrow for sure.
Yeah, I don't know any animal that could do that.
It's that time of year when all the gnomes are going to come out in everybody's garden, their flower beds and everything. This next one, this one's about a like a little town, kind of a real small town, almost like a little stopping post. Oh, we got dogs. They're after them gnomes. You probably saw the gnome run by. We are live, folks. We got this one here is a little bit of a burg in New Jersey, and there's some kind of crazy stuff happened there. The name of the place was called Ong's Hat, and we'll see what you think about. This is more of a phenomenon here. The next two videos are going to be phenomenons.
What if I told you there's a lost town in New Jersey that might have vanished? Not just from history, but from reality itself. This is the legend of Ong's Hat, a place some claim was the site of a top-secret interdimensional experiment. But is this a bizarre urban legend, a forgotten ghost town, or something even stranger? Ong's Hat was a real settlement in the Pine Barrens dating back to the 1700s. It was little more than a pit stop. A few houses, a tavern, and a reputation for outlaws and drifters. According to local folklore, the town got its name from a man named Jacob Ong, who supposedly threw his hat into the air in a drunken rage, and it got stuck on a tree branch. That's all that remains in historical records until things start to get weird. In the 1970s, strange rumors began to circulate about a hidden research facility in the abandoned town of Ong's Hat. A group of rogue scientists, including an ex-Princeton professor named Dr. Wally Fard, allegedly set up a secret lab known as the Institute of Chaotic Research. These scientists weren't just playing with atoms and equations. They were obsessed with the idea of parallel dimensions. They reportedly developed a device called the Egg, a small pod-like structure that, when activated, could transport people into alternate realities. And according to the legend, it worked. One night, the entire research team and their followers vanished without a trace. The buildings were left intact, their notes scattered, but not a single person remained. Some believe they used the egg to escape to another world. Others claim the government shut the project down and erased all evidence. So what's the truth behind Ong's Hat? Many researchers claim this entire story was an elaborate alternate reality game, created by Joseph Matheny in the 1980s. He published a book called Ong's Hat, The Beginning, which detailed the experiments and interdimensional travel. But Matheny later admitted he mixed truth with fiction to spread the story online. Yet, some still believe something real happened in Ong's Hat. The Pine Barrens have long been a hotspot for paranormal activity, from the Jersey Devil to secret military experiments. Was this just a hoax? Or was Matheny covering up something much bigger? So what do you think? Is Ong's Hat just an elaborate internet myth? Or did something truly bizarre happen in the New Jersey Pine Barrens? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more dark government conspiracies and lost history, make sure to follow for more. Until next time, stay curious and watch where you step in the woods.
Pretty interesting. Are you ready to make a road trip to the Pine Barrens, Cindy?
Sorry, the dogs were barking. I turned my mic off.
We are live.
I know. But very interesting. I would definitely like to go check it out.
The Pine Barrens, I've seen quite a few different videos from there where they're out looking for that Jersey Devil, and then there's one guy on YouTube. He goes out camping by himself, and he's went out there and he's ran into some, like, he's out in the middle of nowhere, like where he's at. It's not like a regular campground. He's way out there, and it's like people show up in the middle of the night and stuff. It's like, who would be running around out there besides him or somebody just adventure camping, whatever. But I mean, he'll be out there and like stuff shows up. You don't know if it's paranormal, if it's another person, if they're there to rob you, or you don't know what's going on. So he's ran into a couple scenarios like that out by himself, which he's always made it back. But we might be We might be getting a caller. Huh. I think we may have a call coming in. Not sure yet. Yeah, we may have a caller, Cindy.
Yay. Let's see what they have to say.
This next video is another phenomenon. This is something that was observed during the Civil War, I think around the Battle of Shiloh and some other battles. But the soldiers that were moved off the field, some of them didn't make it, some of them did. But the ones that were left out on the field, oh, we're getting a call. Hold on, everybody. We've got a caller and we are on the air. If I can. Well, I thought we had a call.
Did you hang up on him, Phil?
No, I have to accept it since we're on the air.
Oh, okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. You have a question for me and Cindy?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question? You're live on the air with Supernatural Sundays. You got Phil, Billy, and Cindy from Louisville.
Yes.
What's your question?
My question is for Cindy.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you ever get scared doing the investigations?
Not really. I'm usually more worried about something following me home, but I've been touched and different stuff, so I've never really been afraid of it. I'm sure if I was in a deep, dark hole somewhere, I would be scared, but
Were you touched like just like grabbed or just like a little tug or something like a
like
a
something clenched my
feather?
shoulder. Something grabbed hold of my shoulder and like grabbed it, And then I've had a kid touch my hand before and it showed up on the thermal.
Oh wow. I think I had something touch my hand one time too. Sometimes it feels kind of like static electricity, but when it first happens, I don't know, like you think you'd be terrified, but it's more like it catches you off guard. And you're not expecting it. You're like, oh, and then you think it was a person at first. Like I had a little tug on my shirt. I'm like, all right, who's tugging on my shirt? I look, and there's nobody there, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
You got any other questions for us or comments there, caller?
Yeah. Do you all ever do like daytime investigations very often?
We do. Some places we go won't let you go in of a night, and they lock the gates or whatever, secure the location. So we'll go during the day. There's nothing saying you have to go overnight. It's just if you're looking for something that'll self illuminate or show up better on an IR camera, something that's got its own light source, then you want to go overnight. But of a day, we get all kind of activity during the day. We actually got a couple videos I'm going to show here in a little bit that actually show some daytime paranormal activity. Good question, caller.
Thank you. What's our caller's name?
Yeah, where are you from, caller?
Kentucky.
You want to be anonymous, or did you want to say your name, or?
Just call me Angel.
All right, Angel. Are you an Earth Angel?
Kentucky.
We'll be praying for an angel if we're ever in an accident. We'll need you to come help us. Well, thanks for calling in, caller. Appreciate the call, and hope you're enjoying our show. And feel free to call in again sometime.
Oh, I love Supernatural Sundays. I watch it every Sunday.
Oh, well, thanks for checking in. We appreciate the viewers. If you have any crazy stuff going on in your area, just give us a call. We'll come out and check it out. All right. Well, you have a good night there, caller. Angel from Kentucky.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome, Cindy. We had a caller. How about that? And a doggy.
Pretty good. And my
That's
dog.
live action right there. I call that live action.
He barks at
You ready
everything.
for a phenomenon?
Yes.
This is the one I'm talking about, the soldiers, the ones that got pulled off the field, the Civil War. You know, you had kind of a 50-50 chance if you're going to make it or not make it. But some of the soldiers that laid out on the field overnight, they've been observed of a night going out there and they've seen a blue glow on their bodies. And they actually had a better survival rate than the ones that were pulled off the field immediately, that, you know, that weren't like super life threatening, you know, immediate. So we're gonna roll this one. So that was just a little snippet of it, but apparently there is a microbial bacteria. It's kind of like a nematode, and if you got shot and you're laying out there on the field, these little nematodes would come up and get in the wound, and they would help eat the bacteria and everything, so to speak. So it was almost like a natural antibiotic. But the side effect of these little bacteria climbing up on the soldiers' bodies and helping clean out the wounds was a blue glow. So people would see these guys laying out on the field, and it was like a luminous blue glow, and they had all kind of paranormal beliefs for it. And, you know, it was the angels coming to, you know, save them or whatever. And most of the guys that had the blue, they observed with this blue luminescence glow on them. Actually, most of those guys survived because it was like a natural antibiotic. So, but that was a phenomenon I wanted to share. And let's see, I think that's our last phenomenon. We're going to go into a daytime investigation as promised from our caller Angel there. And this guy, the tombstone was kind of hard to read. We're in a cemetery, Mount Moriah, here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Daytime investigation, and this guy's name was Elvin. At first, I thought it was something else, but it's Elvin. So we're gonna roll that one. Talk to us, buddy. Got anything you want to say? This tombstone's Elvin Williams, not Evan Williams. Evan Williams, you need some ice for that. That was old Elvin Williams, not Evan Williams. Evan Williams is a drink. That was pretty cool. Did you see the cat ball lighting up with that?
Mm-hmm.
And this may be part of that. We're just going to roll with these clips. Elvin Williams, 1879 to 1938. April 16th. That's my dad's birthday. Awesome. So, anyway, the cat ball went off. The one next to it did not go off. We thought a pauper cemetery would be tiny, but it's actually pretty darn big. And I'm thinking, was that a cedar tree there? Cindy, what do you think? Looks like a cedar. Pretty big cedar. But yeah, this cat ball went off over here. Mr. Elvin, are you still hanging around here at your gravesite? You got anything you want to say to us? Did that cat ball just go off?
No. As soon as you said that. Want me to bring the spirit box over here?
Yeah, if you want to bring it over here. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Was not expecting that. I really never expect anything, but when something happens, it's pretty cool. But yeah, the cat ball's still going off. Mr. Elvin. maybe nobody comes out here much, so they're excited to interact. We're not gonna even try for EVPs because it's so windy and stuff, but I did just hear a bird. Cindy's bringing the spirit box over here. I just set it on the ground. Cat ball just went off again. This other cat ball's not going off, or the other one over there.
It's pretty covered over here.
Mr. Elvin, if that's you messing with the... That was a pretty wild investigation that Cindy was on with us there. What do you think of all that, Cindy?
Yeah, the cat ball was very interesting, going off right as you were asking a question and stuff. If he was with us, it was letting you know, yeah, still here.
I thought it was pretty wild that just the one cat ball would go off and the other ones wouldn't. It's like I've had piles of cat balls and they'll pick one. It's like one, they mess with it, and then I've tried to swap them out, and then they'll play with the same one after I move it. I've had them do that, and I've also had them just everything stop when I mess with it too. So it's like, okay, I must have interrupted the flow of energy, or I'm not sure if this one's the same investigation or not. We'll see. Hey, we're in this old sketchy house in a basement up here in Kentucky. It's abandoned. It's caving in. You can see all the way through to the third floor to the ceiling and everything. Our live just got banned because we were showing some symbols on we didn't paint none of these symbols. We're just showing the graffiti we're finding. There was some anti-Semitic stuff, whatever. We didn't paint it, but we were just showing what we were finding here. So TikTok done shut off our live. We're banned for a while. So anyway, we'll try to post a few more clips. See y'all. That was another investigation we did about 2 weeks ago we were up by Shelbyville, and this old abandoned house that we went to a few times, but there's a lot of graffiti painted in there, and a lot of not so nice stuff, not a lot of appropriate stuff. So we were just shining around with the camera, and it got to one of those symbols, and they shut us off, which I thought was ironic because the very next morning I get on TikTok and the very same symbol is painted on these ladies in France that were protesting. If anybody's ever seen that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, well, if it's on a bare-chested lady, I guess it's okay. But if shown in an old abandoned house, they're going to violate community standards. So we're not going to run around topless doing these investigations. So just getting banned, just so everybody knows. It's not in our in our plans or schedules for anything like that. But I thought it was ironic they banned us for that symbol, and the same symbols the next day is painted on all these ladies. They're in France protesting. I mean, we don't condone people painting graffiti, but we're just trying to show what we're in an abandoned house. We're just trying to show the environment. Here's what people's done to trash this place and pretty much ruin it. This one, I got another one of this abandoned house. It's a little bit longer, Cindy, and you were there, so we'll get your kind of critique on this. You haven't seen all this footage yet, so we'll see what you think, and then people at home what they think. Poor wireless connection. I've had good wireless all the way in the basement and everything until I got by that sigil. We got over by this sigil on the wall, and my live stopped, y'all, and the phone acted up. It's kind of weird. Got Philbilly here. We're in Shelbyville, Kentucky, abandoned house. It's old, like an old mansion. I just came back because I lost my live. But anyway, this place is getting pretty rough. The water's taking it over. Once the roof goes, man, the whole house is going to go. We're going to go back in here where we started. Stuff on the walls. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna watch where you walk here, folks. Yeah, that was a little soft. Old mattress. The other part of a fireplace. That fireplace pretty well gone. Used to be some nice bay windows in here. Pretty well gone. Like a skull with something sticking through the head there. Not sure what that is. Yeah, we were looking at that sigil in there, and everything went crazy with the phone and everything. I still had 5G, and it's like the camera froze up. It's pretty wild. We're back in here. We're back here with our REM pot, and back to where we started. This room here goes up pretty high. There's no railing left. Stairs. Yeah, that's the first steps of Lulu. Cindy, do you have any questions, or you think we should try to run a necrophonics or something like that, or?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. You got yours? You want me to fire mine up, or?
Shoot, I switched phones with Tom because I needed that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't think we can do it because I can't record and do it at the same time.
I can walk out there and get it.
Nah, no big deal. He probably went back to the car, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. If anything's here, you want to come ring a bell or hit my paramoo over there? We might tune in a little bit later, folks. We're thinking about heading over to the Poplick Trestle, where the Goat Man supposedly resides and tricks people into going up there and jumping off, and some kind of looks like some boards laid over in there. Stuff a lot of graffiti in this house. It's just crazy. Okay, you gotta watch where you walk here for sure. Cindy, we had to start over at we got by that sigil in there and everything just froze up and stopped. I had to go back live, so we're going to film a little bit more, and we're probably going to head over to the Poplick Trestle. We're in Shelbyville, and then Poplick Trestle's over by Louisville. We're going to check that out. We're back on the bottom floor. If anybody back home's watching got any questions or anything we want to ask, the spirit's been pretty quiet tonight. This house has been very active in the past. We've had a rock thrown at us before. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that was somebody throwing a rock at her if she was standing in that corner.
Yeah, she was in a corner.
That corner.
Yeah, Cindy was standing in that corner, had her back to the wall, and the rock hit her in the back of the head. And it went down her back.
And there isn't any plaster right above.
There's no plaster falling there. There's some over here, but when she picked it up, it was a rock. It wasn't even plaster.
There's nowhere that could have
But
come
it didn't
from.
hurt. It just went through my hair.
Wow.
Almost like it was placed.
Yeah.
But I heard it hit the ground and felt it. It's like, oh shit.
Somebody placed a couple 2x6s there. I don't know. I'm going to take people over here. And, okay, this camera's stopped again. And something turned my night vision off this time. And we're going to hit record again. Maybe we're not. Card's full. Yep, this camera's done. Unless we put another card in it. Okay. Yeah. But you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that at home. Let me take this away. It's hard to see. That's IR. If I turn this off, it was too much IR. Let me take this away. This is what dang it, too close. This is what it looks like on night vision, everybody. That's what it looks like. I don't know, what do you guys think? Call it? I'm thinking maybe try my XLS for a few minutes, and then if we don't get anything, we'll head over to the Poplick Trestle, and we may come back on again, everybody. You got the Philbilly here, and we're in Shelbyville, Kentucky, and we're going to sign off, and then we may pop up again. All right, everybody. Well, what do you think of that?
Yeah, it was nice to see it one last time, but I didn't feel anything there at all anymore. It was like somebody had came in and cleansed possibly, or I don't know
Yeah,
what would have made everything move on.
we didn't get any rocks thrown out at that time. We'd started out with a TikTok live, and then we started showing the symbols in the basement and whatnot, and then they killed it. Well, then later on, I started on Facebook Live. I'm like, well, we'll try Facebook Live. Facebook Live never shut us down for any of the graffiti, the symbols, any of this vulgar stuff that was painted in there. But it just, I got by that one sigil, and my camera just stopped twice. And then some of my other still cameras had, like the one there, um, I think it had a 128 gig card in it. It's said card full, and I just put a fresh card in it. And then something shut the IR off. And then I went upstairs, and I had another camera where the camera had just been, the recording had stopped, and I just hit record and started recording it like something had shut it off. So it wasn't real active like we'd had before. It almost seemed like the place had been cleansed, but there was still a little something going on there. We're having a little weird stuff going on, but nothing major. But a lot of times you go out, you don't always expect anything. But like we were in that cemetery during the daytime, cat balls were going off, and we've had them go off in other places. But we went to this that particular house. I had several different things set up, and no cat balls went off that night at that house at all.
That house has always been the most active place I've ever been, and to not even feel anything when I walked in, it was just kind of sad a little bit, you know.
A little let down, nothing happened, huh?
Well, not really let down, just wish I got to tell him goodbye.
I think they're out in the universe there, so you can always tell them goodbye.
Yeah.
This was after that we went over to the Pope Lick Trestle over there in Louisville, and you didn't get to come with us on that second leg because it was getting pretty late, and you were giving some folks a ride home and whatnot. But it was really cold over there. It was like 20 some degrees over there. Your hands started getting cold and whatnot. But I do have a little bit of a video clip here of we did get a couple trains come over. So the whole premise is there is this, he's like a demonic creature, the goat man, and supposedly he tricks people into going up on the trestle. Well, this trestle, it's like a 90-foot drop and several hundred feet long. It's basically, there's a curve coming on each end. So when a train comes, there's a curve, and you can't see them coming for a long way. And by the time you hear the train horn, it's too late. If you're on that trestle, you can't outrun the train. And a lot of people, there's been over 20 people die up there. You either get hit by the train, or you jump off to your death, or you get knocked off. You know, the train knocks you off and you die. Or there's been people try to hang on to the trestle. There's no guardrail. There's no walkway. It's just railroad ties. And there's been some people try to hang on there to the train. But if it's a really long train, it shakes and it'll vibrate. It'll vibrate to the point it shakes you loose and you fall in there. There's only been maybe 2 or 3 people that's been able to hang on and survive. So without further ado, we're gonna play a little train coming across the Pope Lick Trail.
like it got a wheel bearing going out. Where's that goat man? Come on out, goat man. Let's see you up there. Where you at, goat man? Bring it on, goat man. Yeah, baby.
Well, what do you think of the old goat man there?
Well, I don't really believe in the goat man, but I definitely believe stupid people have climbed up there, and not that they were stupid when they died, but it's just extreme to climb up there. And the big concrete pillars that are at the bottom, if you hold on to one of them, I mean, they're massive and you can feel
Yeah.
the vibration in them, so up top you would have no chance.
We actually had a cat ball. We put it inside a jug, so nothing could manipulate it, and a clear jug, and it actually vibrated. And I went over there. There was a crack on that one pillar. We put cat balls and K2 meters and sensitive equipment around all the base of that trestle, but that one cat ball was going off like crazy, and that's what we figured out. It had a crack in it.
Yeah, it, definitely a lot of vibration coming through there, though, and energy. I think that's why a lot of people who have passed away there stay, is there's just that train coming through all the time. And
It's still a very active trestle. If you go up there overnight, there's usually a couple trains. It's pretty cool when they come over. I get pretty excited and start hollering and stuff, see if I can get anything stirred up. Yeah, I was up there yelling, "Hooty hoot!"
it's a hillbilly.
Yep. So we've got a few other investigations planned this year. We're gonna next weekend. We're gonna go up to it's like a old man. It's a plant like an old plantation house up on the Ohio River, and they're doing like a murder mystery dinner thing. We're gonna go up for that and do some investigating. And I don't know that we'll go live or anything like that. We may post some clips of it later, but that's something we're doing next week for some folks on the team want to go, and some couples that want to go for the dinner thing. Instead of the newlywed game, they're having the newly dead game. It's the same folks that put on the murder mystery dinners on the Bardstown dinner train. So it's very well done, very professional. If you ever get a chance to go to one, they're really cool. If you're into that thing, going to see a live performance. And then we got some other stuff planned. We're
The
gonna
Red River Gorge.
Red River Gorge. We're gonna go do the Bigfoot Festival over there. While we're there, we're gonna try to go hit the net. I don't know if it's Nada Tunnel or Nada Tunnel.
I always call it Nada.
Nada.
Kentucky.
Yeah. There's the hand dug tunnel, and we actually had a guy I know from another team went over there. He got scratched in that tunnel, and then some of the equipment knew his name too. It was kind of weird as the name came up. And he got scratched, and he had like a vest on and everything, and it scratched him under his vest. So pretty wild. And there's a lot of reports of paranormal activity in Red River Gorge of a night, especially of a night. They're like telling you don't go hiking up there of a night, but people that have ran into some really strange things. Strange people up there. Some of them are living, some of them maybe not. So we're gonna go over spend 2 nights over there. And then later on in the year we're gonna go to Mansfield Reformatory where they filmed the Shawshank Redemption. We're gonna go up for that, and then another team member of ours, Jennifer, her sister runs O-Pits out of Ohio, and we're gonna go up for their Gretchen Fest, and that ought to be pretty cool. We're gonna go up there and hang out for the Gretchen Fest and do some investigating. And those are just some things we definitely have planned, and we got some other stuff coming up this year. We're trying to plan a trip out to Gettysburg, out that way, stop off at Point Pleasant and check out the Mothman. all the Mothman stuff going on there. So there's some stuff, and then we're probably going to do some more local stuff around here. 'Cause,
The
you know,
one cave that you can take a boat tour on. You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of
or
the name.
there's one here in Bowling Green, the Lost River Cave.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in Indiana that you can do a boat tour. Um, and then the other one I know of is in Tennessee, where they put the trout in there. They call it I think it's like the Inland Sea or something like that. They call it in Tennessee. I've been to that one. I went during a drought. Don't recommend going during a drought. Go when the water's flowing.
Oh wow.
The water levels got really low, and they had to actually put aerators in there for the fish because normally the water just keeps everything moving and cleaned out and fresh oxygen coming in. And the water got so low there was no water going through the cave. So what little water they had to put aerators in there. And so yeah, but the Lost River Cave. If we have a 3-inch rain here in Bowling Green, they'll have to shut it down for a few days, pull the boats out. Because when you go in, you have to duck your head going in to the entrance. Because the water, the water's up fairly high there. There's like a dam inside the cave that keep the water level up so the boats can go through there, and the boats they go in so far and then they turn around and go back out. The cave continues on. The cave actually goes all the way, meanders all the way through Bowling Green, comes down the other side of town into a creek.
Wow.
And there's a couple other entrances in town, Bowling Green. I think some of them are accessible and some of them are not. Some have been filled in, or it's almost like the sinkhole city here. I don't know if people are familiar with what happened with the Corvette Museum, where it fell in the sinkhole. I think it's been almost 10 years ago since that happened, but they just had like I think it's their 30th anniversary, but they were able to recover all the cars, but maybe two or three. They got them all out, but some of them they couldn't repair. They were just so far gone, and they're on display there. You can see the cars are kind of smashed. So there is some paranormal activity been reported in the Lost River Cave, and as well as Mammoth Cave. Expedition X went down there, so I'm not opposed to doing some paranormal investigating in a cave, but it have to be done, safely.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of you don't want to go fall down in a hole or something. You got to spelunking's not for everybody.
I'll have the fire department come.
Yeah.
Pull you out.
Mammoth Cave National Park and then the Land Between the Lakes are two different areas that we were looking at to go out, and we're probably going to do some camp out activity. There's a lot of stuff at Land Between the Lakes to go investigate over there during the daytime and at night. And Mammoth Cave, there's some areas. Another member on the team, Jeff, he's been talking about wanting to just go out there, just go out in the middle get away from all the roads and people, and get out there and just overnight and just sit out there and wait, see what we can observe. That reminds me of a video I have here, which you have not seen this one, Cindy. So this one will be a surprise for you too. This is something I saw the other night. I'm always looking at the sky. We were out watching a blood moon a while back, and I don't have a really big telescope. I got a little decent one. I'm always out looking at planets and any kind of activity like that. So, this is something I saw, and I don't know what it was. So I'm just going to call it UFO because it's definitely unidentified.
I think it's the ISS coming over. It could be the ISS. I don't know if this thing will zoom in. Can't tell what it is, but it's moving pretty good. Can't tell what it is, man. It's hauling ass. It's almost going by the house. It's definitely an unidentified flying object, whatever it is. It's getting like an iridium flare off of it. I think it could be the ISS. Try to zoom in on it one more time. I definitely do not have the right equipment. And it's gone. Looks like I could turn around and try to keep seeing it. Oh, went in back behind a cloud. It's still going. I don't know. It didn't look solid. It looked kind of like some kind of ball. Let's see if it comes out of this cloud. There it is. It's out of the other side of the cloud. I'm gonna try to zoom in on it. Ah, dang it. I don't know what that is. It's still going. It's going behind the house.
The way it switches direction is really interesting.
Yeah, like I've seen the ISS before, and it's usually just like an orange, kind of a dull, like it doesn't flash and blink like that. And sometimes you can see like stuff sticking off, like little antennas or whatever the structure of it is. But this thing, it just went on a straight track, which tells me, well, okay, that could be something man-made. It's like on an orbital path, but it's just like looks like flashing colors of light, like little globs of light and stuff. When I tried to zoom in on it, I couldn't. I was just using my iPhone. I'm just sitting out there and I look up and I go, what the hell? There it is.
That's why phones are handy.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but definitely if we're out sitting out in the middle of nowhere would be a good place to see that kind of activity. Where
Oh yeah.
I mean, if UFO shows up right now, I'm gonna have him come in and we'll have some coffee, talk about the universe. Come on. I'd be the same way if Jesus or anybody else showed up. I'd be like, come on in, let's have coffee, talk about everything. Nothing to be scared of. That's what the caller was asking, if you ever been scared, and I don't know. I tend to be more scared if I'm coming out of the bathroom at my own house and somebody yells at me. I'll jump out of my skin. On investigation, I've had stuff like touch me, and I've had stink stuff. I call it stink bomb. Like something next to me go off and smells.
That's not bad.
Have you ever ran into any of those phantom smells there, Cindy?
Yeah, I ran into the same one you ran into. It was a stink bomb.
Oh, over at the Cedar
Chestnut House.
Chestnut. Yeah, I keep wanting to call it Cedar House. Chestnut House over there past London.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was definitely a stink bomb. And nobody, it wasn't nobody. It was just there.
I don't know what it is with smells, but I was down in Trousdale Place in Gallatin, and we were down in a parlor room, and it smelled like a flowery, almost like a perfume smell. And there was about 15 of us in a room, and like the lady by the door smelled it, and then nobody smelled it. And then you go around about 5 more people, and somebody else smelled it, and I smelled it too. Come around, like somebody walked through there, like sauntering through there with a perfume or something. I think maybe that was the lady, of the house, just letting us know she was there. I smelled cigar smoke once. Me and Jennifer smelled it first. We were in a cemetery over by Hopkinsville, and she smelled it, and I didn't smell anything. A little bit later, I was like, I'm smelling a cigar now. And nobody was out there smoking or anything. It's pretty wild. And I think the worst one ever, I was in Rockville, Indiana, at the old state hospital up there. And you go up there for like an overnight. Basically, you just pay your way, and you and however many 30 other people show up, and it's like a challenge. If you can stay all night till 6 a.m., you get a T-shirt and everything. And
oh wow!
And we were on the 3rd floor, and I'm standing there, and it smelled like the smell came up behind me, and I was like, did somebody, do something? And then there was like nobody there, and it got closer and closer. And this didn't smell like if somebody farted. This smelled like somebody pooped their pants. I mean, what a better way to describe it. And it's like this smell went by, and then this lady next to me looked at me, and I'm like, it wasn't me. I'm like, I smell it too. And she's like, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't imagining it. I wanted to make sure you smelled it. And then there was like 20 people in the room. They start laughing. Well, the late people in the front row started smelling it. And nobody in the back could smell it, just the front. And then it's like the person in the front, then about 10 people down. Like it was walking through there, basically, the only way I could describe it. But I smelled it come up behind me and then walk like somebody walked through there with a full Depends or something. You know, I mean, it was like it smelled
Yeah.
like some literally had an accident. You
Raunchy.
know, there was nobody there. There was nothing there. You could see nothing. I mean, it was pretty wild. We tried to do an Estes session up there, and they kept having to stop because we put a person down the hallway, and then we were asking questions like, "Hey, did you live at this hospital? What's your name?" And the guy kept saying, "You're gonna have to stop. There's too many voices trying to talk at once." And sometimes you'll run into that. You get like at a battlefield or an old hospital where a lot of people have passed away, and you get young
Yeah.
tell the spirits, "Hey, one at a time."
Sometimes they'll seem like they're arguing with each other and not even saying anything to you. It, it could
Like
be
you're not even there, like a film loop, just over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've observed things on like the SLS camera where like a stick figure, he'll come out of a bathroom and just walk out. I'm like, "Hey, hello." Nothing. And about 15 minutes later, he comes out of the bathroom again and just keeps going. I'm like, I sure hate to think I was spending eternity coming out of a bathroom over and over. But then the one house we went up to over by Louisa, Kentucky, there was one on a bed. And I played this video before. I'd have to look it up. But I was like, "Hey, can you jump off the bed?" And by God, it jumped off the bed and went splat on the floor. And then it like crawled off. And I was like, I can't. I mean, sometimes the SLS camera will pick up a lamp or pick up a vacuum cleaner or something, and you can kind of tell it's. And then sometimes it just it'll just pixelate quick, like it's. You get false positives. Not everything's paranormal. Not everything the camera's picking up is going to be paranormal. But when it jumps, you're standing there perfectly still. Like they say, if you move it around, sometimes you can get reflection or it's you doing it. But if you're on a tripod or you're perfectly still, this thing appears, and then it jumps off a bed, and then it crawls across the floor and out the room, and it's gone. It's like, okay, I don't know how to explain. I don't know what it is.
That happened.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the software. The other thing we had at that house, we found a stick man sitting on a commode. And I thought, well, maybe he's picking up the commode, and I'd move it all around and it's just still there. And then finally it was gone. But I've had some other people look at the video and they're like, oh, it's just picking up the commode. It's just the toilet seat, the toilet in the back of the toilet and everything. But so ever since then, every time I go anywhere, public area, a home, anywhere with a commode, I hit it with that SLS camera just to see. And it has never done it since. I've only had a stick man show up in that one house. Never hasn't done it since. So I'm like, okay, if it made a stick man every time I shined on a commode, I'd be like, okay. But it hasn't. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm picking up. I don't claim everything's paranormal, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of odd stuff in that house too. So
I got a question come in. This question is for Cindy and Phil Billy. Have either of you ever seen what you would consider to be a full apparition or a shadow person, either look transparent or solid?
I haven't. I have seen like shadow people out in the hallway when I was a kid. I think that's what first got me into really thinking about stuff could be afterlife, but that was the only time was when I was a kid.
I've never seen what I would consider an apparition, full-grown apparition or anything like that. I was at a place in Red Bowling Springs. I seen something run around the corner of a house pretty quick, like a little shadow, but I have seen what I would consider a shadow man. And I was at a house up in Burlington, Kentucky, and sitting there in the afternoon, and it it's kind of like in the fall when the sun's coming through. Like, say you got your door open, and it's just your storm door is shut, and the light, from the sun's coming through. Like somebody comes up to the door, somebody walks by, you'll see like a shadow. So this was like a guy in a ball cap. And he just come walking up there, and I'm like, oh, somebody's at the door because it looked like like if someone were at the door, this is a shadow. And the guy's standing there at the ball cap, and he just kind of turns, looks at me, and I get up. I'm like, oh, somebody's at the door. So I go to answer the door, and there's nobody there, and I'm like, well, he must have left already because I didn't come to the door, and I didn't hear him knock. So I go down the sidewalk, and I'm looking all up and down the street sidewalk. There's nobody, nothing. So I go back in the house and sit down. And I sit there and think about it a minute. I'm like, what the hell did I just see? Because after I thought about it and the way it moved and the way it acted, and that it was like a shadow, but you could see through it. But I'm like, after I thought about it, I'm like, that was in the middle of the room. It wasn't like it was normally a shadow is projected on something like a wall or a mirror, a window, a door, or something. This was kind of in the middle of the room. After I thought about it, I'm like, I just saw a dang shadow man.
And that was in your house?
Not my house.
Oh, okay.
I was at somebody else's house.
Okay.
And then the lady that lived there, her husband had passed away in the next room, in a sunroom. And he had cancer, and from everything I was told, he went pretty peaceful, and the family was there with him and everything. It was pretty cool. And I just happened to ask her out of the blue. I said, "Did he ever wear a ball cap?" And she looked at me funny. She was like, "Why'd you ask that?" I was like, "Oh, I just wondered." I didn't want to tell her I saw a shadow man in her house because I didn't want to freak her out, And I didn't know how she'd react to that, because I'm pretty sure it was her husband. So anyway, that's the only one I've ever seen. And wasn't expecting it, wasn't out on investigation, wasn't looking for anything. It was just like, there he was. Like,
wow.
That's what happens usually. Stuff will happen when you're not expecting it. Like you're setting up equipment or taking down equipment, or you're walking into a place, or you're just driving down the road and look up like, there he is,
Yeah, we've gotten some of the best evidence when we've been setting up before. It's like they're ready to go with your equipment,
Yes, and the other thing I've noticed, like the one guy on our team, Gary, he hears stuff talking to him, and he's what I would consider a clairaudient, and he's somewhat empathic. Because I was talking to him about a week ago, and he was at a battlefield, and a guy come up to him who had said he had been stabbed with a bayonet, and he could feel it in his chest. His chest was hurting, and he said he had to get out of there. It was bothering him. And I said, well, somebody who picks up on emotions like that, I've been told is an empath or empathic. And several investigations where he's been riding with me in the car, he'll pick up on something on the way there before we get there. And from now on, I've just learned if he's in the car, have the recorder going as soon as you pull up to a place. It's like you'll pull in the driveway and he'll get a name or he'll get a message. We pulled up at one house and something told him, you need to leave. And he was like, well, what do you want with this? What do you want with this? Why are you here? Why are you going to tell us to leave? And it was like, none of your business. And then he didn't get nothing the rest of the night. So it's like, I got to have the recorder rolling because sometimes it happens as soon as you get there and then nothing the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the way he can hear stuff.
Yeah. And then there's two different places we've been. There was an old mine we went to, and another house we went to where we pulled up it's in his left ear. He'll go, ow. And I'm like, Gary, you okay? He's like, something's screaming in my ear. You can hear him screaming. And, but he can tune it out. Like he said, he has to shut it off when he goes to sleep or he won't get any sleep. He said, it's like 1,000 people trying to tell you goodnight every night. It gets pretty crazy. He hates going to hospitals. I'm not talking abandoned hospitals. I'm talking any hospital, like active, fully functioning hospital. He'll walk in. He said it's like all these, spirits or whatever coming up trying to say hello. Hey, can you hear me? Can you tell my family hi? It's just nonstop. He said he goes in there for visit, he has to tune it all out.
Yeah, I can imagine all the souls in any kind of hospital that, somebody who can hear him's there for the first time.
He said if he has a surgery or if he's in the hospital overnight for a few nights, he said he's almost as wore out from the procedure as he is keeping it all tuned out while he's there.
Yeah.
I was like, "Will the earplugs help?" He's like, "No." He said, "I don't hear them with my ears." He said, "I hear them. They're in my head." And I was like, "Oh man, that would be wild to try to tune something out telepathic."
I wouldn't know how to do it. I'm sure that would take some practice.
Yeah. I had a friend that would hear stuff, and he would take medication or he'd drink heavy, and that's the only way he could get it to quit. And then, but like Gary, he could turn it off and on. So,
Yeah.
have you ever heard anything like that talking to you in your head or anything?
I haven't, no.
Just on the headphones?
Yeah, I pick up a lot of emotions. Like if something's coming through that's a kid and they're sad, it'll make me cry. It's just very emotional.
Well, it sounds like you're empathic too, to some extent. If you pick it up on emotions, because I've been with your investigations, you'll walk in, you're like, it's really sad in here.
Hmm.
I've been there with other people. I was in an old church and a lady just started crying. And I'm like, "You okay?" And she's like, I'm overwhelmed with this overwhelming sadness." I'm like, "We're in a church. Should it be happy here?" She's like, "Well, they've had funerals here too." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and then a
Yeah,
lot of people watching them.
I'm not sensitive at all. Like I'm usually the one they send in. And we're like, "I can't go in there. There's something in there. I can't do it." I'm like, "Give me the camera." And I'm not sensitive, so I don't know. That may get me in more trouble because I may walk into something that I don't know what I'm messing with. So I always try to protect myself. That to that extent. But like when you go to investigation, they always say when you get ready to go home, try to cleanse yourself. Say, look, you can't come with me. Because there's been stuff follow people home. I worry a little bit when I buy stuff at the auction or off of eBay or whatever. I'm like some way antique thing I'll bring in my house, and I'm like, okay, should I
Something happen now.
take this and have a minister preacher over it or pray over it or whatever? So what's the most terrifying thing you've ran into out on investigation there, Cindy?
Nothing's really terrified me. I think the coolest thing was getting touched on the hand and having it show up on the thermal.
That
Yeah.
would be pretty wild.
It was like instant grief.
I don't know. I think I was by myself. My team wasn't that far away, but I mean, I could holler at them, but I was out of sight, and I got out there, and it's like my equipment started going crazy, like all this activity and stuff, and everything just shut down on me out there, and I don't know, it kind of scared me a little bit. But by the time I got back to the truck, I was just pissed off because I was like, "Where'd everybody go?" And I'm out here by myself. Weird stuff happening. I got more angry than anything about it because I was like, "What if I fell in a hole or something?"
Nobody
like,
knows.
yeah. But I was close enough; they could hear me screaming or whatever. But don't want to definitely do this stuff out in the middle of nowhere with no people around. It's not safe, especially over the night, walking around, falling in a hole or something. A lot of cemeteries, believe it or not, during the day, there's a lot of people out there. I see them jogging and walking their dogs, and it's a nice place to go walk. It's calm, it's relaxing. You don't have to worry about a lot of traffic, getting run over or accidents. So I see why people go out there. I've got a couple. I got a couple theories about cemeteries too. That I don't. If you do pick up some paranormal activity there, I don't know that it's always the person that's buried there. I think it could be someone coming to visit. That they're still coming to visit, even in the afterlife. Maybe somebody like to walk their dog there. They're still coming around. my mom takes care of a cemetery, and she's got regulars. She's got one guy comes every Tuesday. He'll sit for a while out there with his wife's grave. She's got another guy comes on Thursday. And this is every week. And it's a small town, like 1,500 people. So, and you could imagine what a big cemetery, big town, if you take that over hundreds of years, these people coming every week to visit their wife or their husband, whatever loved one. And grief's a hard thing to get over. Mourning is very traumatic to a lot of people, and that maybe gives them some kind of solace or closure to go out to the cemetery every. But you could almost set a clock by these guys every week. They go out at the same time, same day. She had one gentleman, his wife had passed recently, and he was spending about 4 hours a day every day.
Oh.
And she finally called his kids and said, "Hey, maybe you want to come take your dad to dinner or something. He's taking this pretty hard." And if you didn't take care of a cemetery, you probably wouldn't even know any of this even happens or goes on. You just drive by the cemetery and there's the cemetery. See somebody out there, they're just. If you didn't pay attention, you weren't there all the time, you wouldn't know they come off on a routine schedule every day. So
Yeah.
that's just one of my theories, because we were in a cemetery and we got the name, we got visitor on our equipment. It said visitor, and we got a name. Her name was Amelia, so we started looking at all the graves. We had a little list, the cemetery. There was no one there buried by that name. Not a middle name, first name. Then we got the word visitor. And then there's other people reported what they call a watcher out there. They've seen some kind of shadow watcher thing. And we did get a pretty good, it showed up on a picture. I didn't see it. My recorder died, and the guy took the picture, and it's on our Facebook page. It looks like an apparition just standing right in front of me, like of a woman or something. I didn't feel anything. My equipment died. I was like, "Oh, my equipment died." Then they started taking a bunch of pictures, and then it was in the moonlight. Well, then the next 5 pictures, there was nothing there. I told them I'm holding perfectly still. I was like, "Okay, take 5 more pictures to make sure it's not a reflection or whatever." And all the rest of the pictures were clean. I put that one on my TikTok and our Facebook page. Those are probably one of the best pictures we've gotten. I thought about getting one blowed up, but we didn't get anything like that for probably 2 years, and then it's been probably been another 3 or 4 years since then. We haven't got anything like that. So you just got to be in the right place at the right time. So take hundreds of pictures, because you just never know what you're going to capture, and go back. Try to take multiple pictures in the same exact spot. Try to hold still, or put it on a tripod with a timer, and then it's more steady. And you can always take 2 or 3 pictures in the same spot. That way you
I'll just take 3 in a row.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll do 3, or 4, or sometimes I'll do 5 or 6. But it's just at least do 2 if you can. That way you can compare if something was there and now it's not there. It's that instant you might catch something.
But it's more proof to you if it's not in the next picture,
Exactly.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment do you like to use, Cindy?
Ovilus is probably my favorite. I definitely like your SLS when I've seen it go. That's one of my favorites. And Tim has, I don't know if you have one or not, but a music box.
I don't have a music box. I've got motion sensor lights, and then I've got REM pods and REM pots, and then I've got all my homemade devices like my spinner and the jug and my cowbell and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that stuff can't be manipulated at all.
No.
Something really has to do something for that to happen. The stuff you've made.
Yeah, you can't. It's not electronic at all. You can't do unless there's an earthquake or a tornado.
But I mean, you can get if you have a K2 and you go near any kind of like Wi-Fi or whatever, some people might think there's a ghost standing there, but it's really just the Wi-Fi, or maybe if they stay there so often, the EMF gets in their head and stuff. It'll make you see things. you know.
Yeah, really high EMF levels. They call it a Faraday cage or a fear cage, and uh, it can make you hallucinate. It can give you headaches, all kind of stuff. If you live under high transmission power lines, it'll build up a static charge too on certain things. So there was one home we went to where they had super high EMF. Like I have an industrial meter, and I've got the K2s have the shielding removed, so they're more sensitive. But they're also sensitive. Like if you tap them on the table or they vibrate, anything hits them, they'll go off too. And I always try to tell people if you have a K2 meter, don't set it on the same table with an external speaker or a spirit box or anything that's giving off any kind of vibration because it'll set off your K2 meter as well. But I've been in homes where it's super high EMF, and those people they were having all kind of experiences where they thought they were talking to things and they could see things and hear things. That we were in a basement one time and they had a lot of high EMF. There was some electrical problems in the house, and the kids down there were just scared to sleep down there, and the cats wouldn't sleep down there or anything. And then we kind of figured out what it was. They had an electrician come in, and I think it was a breaker or something like that, and they fixed it, and then everybody felt fine after that. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can walk into a house in about 5 minutes with a K2 meter and find all your Alexas, and your Wi-Fi extenders.
Everything will pop up. But when you go by a picture and there's nothing behind it and it lights up, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But and then
I had
it's
one, I had one picture, and it going off with the breaker box was behind the picture.
look here.
Yeah. And the other thing that'll set it off is your phones. Like when you're doing a live and you're running off your phone, try to stay back about 10 feet or more. Test it out a few times. Make sure your phone or even the lights, if you're using external lights, some of those can set off K2s. You gotta be careful. And what I like to do is if I'm not live, put it in airplane mode. I was at a really small area down in Gallatin. We were at this place, and there was like 10 people in about a 12 by 12 space, and all their K2s and everything's going off like crazy. And I'm like, "Is everybody in airplane mode?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Shut your phones off. Put them in airplane mode." And they're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm serious." Really? Yeah, really. So we're getting all this activity. We want to record it. I said, "Well, put your phone in airplane mode, and then we'll see what happens." And as soon as they did, everything shut off. All their K2 meters, everything quit. And they're like, "Oh." I said, "Now record something." "Well, it's not doing anything." I said, "Well, you might hear something later on when you play it back." That's the thing with EVPs. You may not hear a disembodied voice. You may only hear it on the playback. So in that case, you want to, when you ask a question, wait at least 15 seconds for them to respond, and try not to have big long sentences. Like "What's your name?" and then wait.
Yeah.
What year is
You
it?
don't give them time to answer. It's you might as well not be there.
Right, and you're talking over them, and you've just distorted your evidence. So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of what we do is a lot of sitting and waiting and just listening and observing, and a lot of nothing happening. So, I mean, you see the stuff on TV. They may have filmed for 2 weeks straight to get that little bit of evidence that they put into that episode, and it's you don't go out and get stuff every time. The first time I got what I would actually say is an actual EVP was about 2 years after I was out actively investigating with hours and hours and hours of recording at each location before we finally got something. So I mean, don't go out and expect something every time. It helps if you have sensitive people with you because they can pick up on things that your equipment won't pick up on, and depending on there's some people that just have feelings, and there's other people who can tell you that room they died in the corner, they were stabbed, they had a green shirt. I mean, they get real detailed. Those are the ones I want to go.
Need them.
Somebody like that on our team that's that good, that detailed. But it's a little spooky too sometimes.
Yeah, especially when a lot of it's true, or the person who they're telling it to is like, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Then the other thing that I've learned by investigating, everybody's different. Everybody's different sensitivities. Everybody's bodies are different. I've just learned. I mean, I've got a first aid kit, but I've also learned to bring stuff. We've got at least 3 diabetics on our team, and even Cindy had at one point her sugar had got low on us, and after we gave her what was some candy and a bag of chips, she was still low. So we're like, we're going to abort mission. I have no problem shutting down an investigation. Then we went, but it's like, I've got to the point now. I'm like, okay, I threw an orange juice in the cooler. I've got extra stuff. We've got some emergency supplies if for sugar or you know I already had ibuprofen and all that anti-diarrhea, whatever. But you got to think about all that stuff. You're in a kit. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're not, you know. Luckily, we were in town, but I think I was up at Joppa Church somewhere, and one night I felt a little lightheaded. I went and had a granola bar, and I was fine after that. Drank some water, but you got to pay attention to yourself, and some of this stuff will attack you and it takes your energy away from you, and you got to be all consciously aware of that. And it sounds silly, but until you're standing there and all of a sudden, your
just
sugar
start
drops, or
thinking.
your energy drops.
Yeah, that's exactly. I had eaten before we went and did that. There's no reason for my sugar to have dropped. It doesn't do that unless I go for hours without eating. And
Right.
it was like something drained my energy more than, because I'd went too long without eating or something like that.
Yeah, you were turning pretty pale there.
Yeah,
It's
my
like one
face
minute
was
you were
like,
fine, the next minute I was like,
I know
uh-oh.
it was in seconds. I had no time to say I need to get something to eat. It was too late, you know.
Yeah. It's like I can't stress enough if you're going to go out and do paranormal investigations, make sure you got to prepare like the Boy Scouts. I mean, make sure you got extra water, stuff to eat, extra, umbrella, rain gear, whatever. Like we don't go out investigating the hard rain because of our equipment and stuff. But if it's a little mist or something, I'll go out. But you get more energy sometimes after a rain. I think you get more activity, but you just got to be thinking about all them things. If you got it, don't go by yourself. Um, and always even if you're going with a couple people, if you're going out in the middle of nowhere, try to let somebody know where you're going, where you're at, just in case. Because we're actually trying to help a couple of teams right now, looking for some people that disappeared. So missing person cases. We brought in some of the psychics, remote viewers, that kind of thing, trying to help find some of those what happened to those folks. And so this day and age isn't even when we were kids. Sometimes people disappear. They don't go if you see a strange van in town. Don't go talk to the creeper van, even if he's offering candy.
No, really.
When we were a kid, it was like, watch out for the van with the guy giving out candy. Now it's like you got to watch coming out of the shopping mall going to your car. If there's something tied on your car or whatever, to turn around and go back in the store. Get a security or something. They're down in Nashville right now. It's really bad. There's been the one girl about didn't make it. She was on the side of the road, and luckily another girl found her. She'd been, I don't know any way to sugarcoat it. She was roofied, pretty much is what they gave her, the date rape drug, and she took one sip and then got in her car and left and started feeling funny and didn't make it home. Luckily they got her to the hospital. But yeah, it's sad this day and age. You got to think about all that, but you got to protect yourself. Got any other advice for any budding paranormal enthusiasts there, Cindy, or people who are sensitive that would like to get into this kind of thing?
Well, I think if you're interested in the paranormal and you would be interested in investigating, that you should try and find people around you who are also interested, and start out with a cat ball and a K2 and a little recorder, and just go try a couple of places, and eventually you'll be doing home cases and trying to actually do something and help people.
The other thing I always try to tell people is like, if you're in a relationship with somebody make sure you're up front with them. Like, look, I'm into this stuff. I like to go out once in a while. If they're into it, cool. If they're not,
Yeah.
it's like sometimes they may not want to investigate, but maybe they'll go with you because it's an old place, it's historical, or they want to they want to kind of help run security or whatever. But it's like appreciate our loved ones putting up with us, going out doing this kind of stuff. But I always figure it's a give and take in any relationship. If she's willing to come with me on a ghost hunt, then I'm like, okay, I'll take her to a concert, or I'll take her to go to dinner, or do something. I try to do things or try to incorporate it. I'm like, let's go on this cool vacation to this cool old hotel. Oh, by the way, they're having a tour, a ghost tour.
While we're there.
Yeah, while we're there, just kind of, we're going on a cruise to Alaska, but by the way, there's a 200-year-old Russian cemetery. I want to, so it's like,
I want to stop by there first.
my sister went with me to the cemetery, and then she went with my mom to go eat, so it worked out. But if you're getting into this stuff, whoever's with you, if you're really into it like me, I mean, if I had somewhere to go, I'd probably go a couple nights a week, just try to get evidence. I'm still learning. I still have questions, about everything. So
I don't think there is a number of experienced years that can make anybody know everything.
no, there's
It's always going to be more questions.
I don't think there's such a thing as a paranormal expert. There's probably novices and people that have no idea of what they're getting into. And then you have people who have more experience. They've been out there. They know what works, what doesn't work for them, their team, and other people.
Yeah.
And but I don't think there's anybody who's an expert really knows what's going on. Now I have dealt with people who deal with demonic things and evil and dealing with that kind of stuff. And I've dealt with some of those people that seem to be able to get the activity to stop or go away or, properly cleanse the house. And I've had other people go in and we have to come back 3 more times because they may have angered whatever it is there, what's going on. You never know what you're dealing with. Yeah. And I don't claim I'm not sensitive and I don't claim to be able to do any of those kind of things. But if somebody's having a real problem, if you're being attacked in your house, or you're terrified or something going on, we'll come out, check it out. And if it does end up being something that's evil or, a very strong, powerful thing going on in your house, then we'll bring in the right people to deal with that. And, we don't give up. We'll keep coming back usually if we can, as long as the people are cooperating and doing what they need to do. If you're asking us to come out and help you and then you're off doing a bunch of stupid things that you shouldn't be doing, then we're not going to stick our reputation out on somebody that's just going to keep conjuring up something as soon as we leave, or that kind of thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of risks out there. Cindy's getting toward the end of the podcast there. You got any kind of parting thoughts for everybody or?
Well, I think a major thing to do if you're want to decide to go out and investigate is to do it with friends and don't take it so seriously because more than likely you're not going to catch anything, and be professional and make sure you have permission wherever you go and don't go across any trespassing signs. That's a no-no.
Yeah, if it's we try to get permission, and even if we're going somewhere where we know it's okay, but we're thinking somebody may see us and say something, we'll call the local sheriff or the local law enforcement and say, hey, we know there's a lot of people go out here and do dumb stuff, but we're actually a paranormal team and we're going to be out here. And they're like, what night? We're at the cemetery. Where are you going? And they're like, thanks for letting us know. We'll let our deputies know. And I've had deputies come out and hang out with us. They're like, oh, hey, finding anything? That's cool. And, well, I've been watching. There's nobody been coming down this road, and I'm just up the road if you need me. I'm like, that's pretty reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah, we were in Bardstown one time, and I mean, it was like everybody there had something happen to them, and it was you know, at a public event. And it was amazing. All these people that came out to share their stories and stuff. It's like some places, towns and everything can have more stuff going on than others.
Yeah, there's certain places we go. If you go there on a Saturday night and it's nice weather, plan on about 5 or 6 teams just showing up that night. I mean, the active areas, and you'll have high school kids coming out there to scare themselves and everything, but then you'll have a few other teams. You'll have some big teams, then you'll have a lot of husband wife teams, boyfriend girlfriend teams, whatever coming out. It's kind of a hobby, kind of relaxing for them. So,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate everybody tuning in this week for this week's Supernatural Sundays with Cindy. I hope you enjoyed having a listen to the discussion with me and Cindy. And y'all be sure to tune in next week. Come on.
Sorry, I was nervous.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.